Hello, this is Jeevi from idlebrain.com. I'm here with Mr. Prithviraj Sukumaran and Mr. Jeevi, who are doing crucial role in the 28th March release, The Goat Life, Aadu Jeevitam. Hi.
Hello.
Basically, I've seen 3 or 4 of your films since 2019 on OTT.
Okay.
And you have become a very prominent name probably in the last 6 years
Okay.
for the people who are outside Kerala.
Okay.
Because of the films Lucifer,
Yeah.
then Bro Daddy,
Yeah.
and there are 2 more.
Thank you. Yeah.
That one, Cop.
Kappa.
Yeah,
Okay.
Police and Ticket.
Driving license.
Yeah, driving
Yeah,
license,
yeah.
right. You are Mr. Jimmy. You are also producing this film, right?
No, I mean I do have a title, but the film is really produced by Blessing, but you know I come in for some other things. Yeah.
Okay, right. So please tell me about your characters in the movie.
Well, I play. Well, this is a true story.
Right.
This is the film is based on a book called Aadu Jeevitam, which in itself is based on a real life. Someone called Najib Mohammed, who went to the Gulf in the early 90s in search of a better life, and through a series of unfortunate circumstances gets stuck there in a desert for almost 3.5 years, and then finally manages to escape. So I play him in the film. So that's my character, and this is pretty much the film is about his life and what he had to go through and the kind of circumstances and the odds he had to fight against to be able to survive and to come out of it. So yeah, my character's name is Najib Mohammed, and yeah, it is he is still with us, alive and well. So I don't know. I don't think I've played another real life story where the real
Character is alive.
Yeah, the real guy is still there. Yeah.
Yeah. What about your character?
I play the character of Kadri, Ibrahim Kadri. How do you say it?
Ibrahim Khan, correct?
Ibrahim.
And we find him in the desert, and he comes in help of Najib, and together they find a path to freedom. So he's a spiritual character. He's a believer, and he's sort of an angel for Najib. And I don't think that without him, Najib would have been able to get out of the desert, because the desert is very complicated. And the character of Kadri does know the desert, so that's who I play.
Right. I observed the trailer and there is only one dialogue. कोई ना बाहर जा सके अंदर से. So basically, is it from the lyric हम तुम एक कमरे में बंद हो?
No, it's so people who have read the book will know that when Najib reaches the desert and he finally reaches the Masara in which he will then end up working for the next 3.5 years, there is already one person there who is taking care of the animals. And the biggest fear Najib has at the very beginning is that he realizes that that person is there for a very long time, because he has now become like almost
Part of it.
yeah, and he no longer looks like a normal human being any longer.
Goat life. That's
Yeah,
what.
exactly. So at the very beginning, Najib asks him, "So, what is your name?" And the person seemed to have forgotten it. And he asks him, "How long have you been here?" And he says, "Don't remember, way too long." And as he is walking away, as that person is walking away, he hums this song. He's a Hindi-speaking man. He hums this "Andar se koi na bahar aa sake," and "Bahar se koi na andar." So he keeps humming this as he walks away, and that is one of the most haunting things Najib sees at the very beginning of his experience. And it sort of encapsulates the predicament of these people, that once they are there, it's impossible to escape. So which is why we use that as a hook line for the trailer.
That's right. This film has the book was released in 2008, and
Yeah.
In 2024, it is coming into celluloid life. Such a long journey. I've gone through the interviews and all that, so I know the reasons behind it. But you know, how did you manage to do a film for 6 years or 5 years for shoot, and manage that consistency in the look?
It was tough because the transition was quite drastic, and in all honesty, nobody expected it to be this long. This happened because of the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah, we had to almost suspend shoot for close to 2 years in the middle of the process, or else it was supposed to be like a 2-year process, which was reasonable. You know, which I thought to make a film like this, you need that kind of time. But it was very tough. It was tough because I basically had to undergo the transformation twice, and once was very tough. To do it twice was like unimaginably tough. But I really didn't have a choice because I had already invested so much of time, effort, and myself into the film that then I couldn't sort of let go of it. I had to make sure that I see it through, and the biggest inspiration for that is one is of course the man who actually lived the life. You know,
Right.
I kept telling myself, imagine what he must have gone through, and also for the team in terms of a piece of cinema, it was a person who was leading us, the director, Blessy. You know, every time I look at him, I see this unshakable conviction in what he is doing, and that was the biggest inspiration for us as a team.
I've gone through your filmography, and you acted in Born Identity also in a small role, and you've done so many Hollywood films. So how different is the work environment compared to Hollywood and Indian film industry?
Well, I guess each film industry has their own culture, and it's something that I get to understand since I work in Hollywood. I also work in Europe, in Africa, South America, and potentially now here.
Everywhere.
So it was new to me, but generally speaking, you know, it's the same end goal. You know, we're all there on set to deliver a beautiful piece of work, you know, a beautiful movie. So I think the cast and crew have their own way of doing things, but you know, the result is the same. So I was just there as a, you know, I was just watching, you know, part of it, but also watching and learning a different way of doing things, you know, different ways in, for example, I know while we were there, you know, we didn't have any day off pretty much for the whole time, which is something that's completely impossible in America. You know, you will have your 2 days off a week. And, but I can understand that, you know, in that kind of situation, people were willing to go all the way without having to stop. And I see as well that we have a lot of people on set, many people sometimes doing the same job, and that is also because of the manpower that maybe we have here in India. You know, 1.4 billion people, that's a lot of people, so you have access to people. And, but otherwise, you know, technically speaking, you know, I met some amazing technicians, amazing actors. Obviously, our lead is amazing, you know, what he's done with the character of Najib. So for me, it was just a learning experience that was enjoyable. And yeah, so it's very glad and grateful to be introduced to the Indian audience via The Goat Life.
That's nice. So how did you find Mr. Jimmy as a casting choice for the character?
It was a long process actually, and I will personally take credit for identifying Jimmy Jean Lewis because it was a long choice. We from the time, so the thing is, when we set out to make this film in 2009, the set of casting options are completely different. You know, back then we were thinking of other names, and then when we eventually started in 2018, we still had a set of names that we could potentially approach, or we had access to their agents. But then the pandemic happened, and 2 or 3 actors that we had more or less thought, okay, maybe we can eventually get to them, then everything fell through, and then the process had to restart again, which is when there was this amazing series called Heroes, and Jimmy played one of the most popular characters in that series, and the character is also called Haitian Hero, and he is from Haiti.
Yeah.
And the first reference about Jimmy came to me through that series, and a friend of mine who also happens to be now working with me in my directorial team for my film called Nirmal Sahadev. He's the one who managed to get access to Jimmy's agent, and he's the one who introduced the project to Jimmy. And I believe like all good artists should also possess the faculty of identifying something good or special if it comes their way. And Jimmy obviously understood that we are trying to create something very special here, and he joined hands with us. It's a very, very important character. It's a pivotal character in the film. For people who have read the book, I know a lot of people look at that as one of their favorite characters. So it was very vital for us to get the correct actor. Not only there is a brief on how the actor should look like, because the persona is almost godlike in the narrative, but also it needs to be a very good actor to be able to pull off all the scenes that Jimmy's character has in the film. And we are glad that we got him in the film, because pretty much the second half of the film works largely because Ibrahim Khadri works.
That's so important.
Yeah.
If you observe the latest Malayalam cinema, two of the biggest industry hits of Malayalam cinema, recently
Yes.
Manjummel Boys, and before that 2018.
Correct. Yeah.
Both of them are survival thrillers.
Yes.
And this one is also a
Yeah.
survival thriller. People are, they worked beyond Malayalam film industry.
Yeah.
They worked across the India. Why do you think that particular genre got so much of revenue?
No, because regardless of what the film is about, if it is about survival, then that means it is also about the resilience of the human spirit.
Right.
And that is a theme that can be retold 10,000 times in 10,000 different ways, and if it is said the correct way, it will still strike a chord. Which is why I think good survival thrillers always find acceptance, because it is about something so universal. The human spirit, the human mind, the resilience of the strength of the human mind is something that is beyond language, beyond skin, color, race, religion, everything. Which is why these films, if they are made well, resonate so widely. And this film is very much about the resilience of the human mind. It is very much about what a man goes through, the metamorphosis of a man physically, mentally, emotionally, physiologically, and how he still manages to fight through the circumstances. Probably that is a reason why survival thrillers do well, because like I said, they speak a language that is universally understandable.
I also loved cinematography and music in the trailer. You know, cinematography is fantastic. I like that sun flares, sand dunes.
Yes.
It
was shot by a cinematographer called Sunil, absolute world-class technician. I worked with Sunil even before. See, of course, we had the luxury of shooting in some unbelievably stunning locations.
Right.
And we always knew that we will shoot this film in the correct light. And by correct light, don't misunderstand that with beautiful light. And I literally mean correct light. Like if a scene has to happen in the afternoon, we would wait for top light. If the scene has to happen, at early morning, we would all be ready and at location when it's fully dark and wait for the sun to come up. So it was shot that way. But having those means and infrastructure and the liberty to do that is one side of it. Actually having the skill is the other side of it, and Sunil is unbelievably skilled. He is just a brilliant cinematographer who I think many more people will start talking about him after this film. Yeah.
That's a big luxury, because waiting for the position of the sun and waiting for the shadows.
Yeah.
It's, actors have to be at your disposal, at the cameraman's disposal all the time.
Yes. So in the book, there is one part of the book. There is a description from the first person's perspective that there were no shadows. So when he says there were no shadows, it means that the sun is actually exactly on top of you, so that you can't really see your shadow. But when he says that, what he means is that is how harsh
metaphorically,
how harsh the sun and the light felt. How do you recreate that through cinema? How do you impart that feeling to somebody sitting inside an air-conditioned theater and watching this on a screen? It is only through, how the kind of latitude you manage to achieve, what happens in the actors' faces. So you deliberately then do not diffuse the light. You don't keep diffusion papers. So all of us in those scenes, you will see Jimmy, me, Gokul, all of us, we're struggling to open our eyes, because in the desert what happens is when the sun is so on top, the reflection from the sand is so strong that it's almost like this. But that is there in the film. We have shot it that way so that you feel the light and the heat. So yeah, I mean, it's all part of one big design. But designing it is one thing, being able to go there and execute it and stick to the vision and consistently make sure that this is how the film will be shot needs a lot of perseverance and focus.
Generally, afternoon is the worst time for any photographer to take any shots, because he won't get, if there is a top light, there is shadows.
I don't necessarily think it is a worst time. It depends on what are you trying to...
What type of image you want.
Correct, yeah.
Right. So this is the...
Yeah, I mean, so you read about, say for example, a film like Out of Africa, you read about Sidney Pollack, writing to Kodak and getting 3000 ASI stock manufactured, because they're actually literally shooting in 0 degree at the equator, and shooting the entire film at 6 stops under, so because that light served a purpose for the film. So it's not necessarily the worst time to shoot. That particular time of the day, there is something that the light does to the ambience and to the actors and the object or the actor you're shooting. If you want to use that, you use that. But if you want to make everything look pretty and nice and beautiful, then maybe that's not the light you want.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what. You have pretty good understanding of camera. You're talking about 6 stops.
No, I'm not a cinematographer. I'm just a student of cinema, so I sort of know the basics of the crafts. That's all. Yeah.
Right. You are a brilliant director also. Both of your films are well accepted. Both of them are very of different genres. You are doing Lucifer sequel.
Yeah.
So when you started your career like 21 years back, what was in your mind, to be an actor, to be a director, or both?
Neither. I was a very accidental actor. I was studying in Australia. I was in the university there, and I came to India for a summer vacation, and I got offered my first film. And I thought I'm doing that one film and going back to finish my degree. It's only slowly that I started cultivating a love for cinema, and when I eventually realized that this is what my life is going to be, then I always knew that I want to learn everything about it. I want to try and learn everything that there is to be learned about this, and that is a learning process that will never finish, because you can never really learn everything about cinema.
Right.
It's a field, it's a medium, it's a craft, it's an art form that just constantly expands, and the more you learn, the more you realize there is more to learn. So I'm still a student of the medium, and I hope I never stop learning.
So what is your favorite survival film?
The Goat Life.
Before that.
Many. So, very recently I saw Society of Snow, brilliantly made, and it's just another kind of survival, again a true story, brilliantly made. I love Castaway. I think it's an all-time classic.
That is everybody's first introduction to
yes, that's
survival
an
thriller.
All-time classic. Yeah. There is a beautiful Malayalam film called Maluti.
Okay.
Please do watch it. It's actually about one night, about a small little girl child falling into a bore well, and the big crew trying to rescue her from the bore well.
Yeah, real story, I guess.
Yeah, but beautifully done.
It happens many times.
Yeah, and that's also a masterpiece, if you ask me. Yeah.
Okay, one last question. Malayalam film, it's very, I'm talking about the content of the film. It's very natural, and they have got right emotions, and they try different genres compared to other commercial films from the other languages. What makes Malayalam film special for the people from other languages is the natural style of storytelling, and that has become the commercial format these days.
Yeah.
Commercial means it's getting more revenue.
Yeah.
So it is a very good thing. You know, Malayalam film is one of the industry that is driving other industries to adapt to the content-driven films. Now in Telugu also content-driven films are doing well. At the same time, commercial films, well-made masala films are also doing well. So how do you see that the growth of Malayalam cinema in the last OTT is also one of the reasons why it is spread among the other languages?
Yeah, we have traditionally been an industry known for making very good original content.
Right.
I just think that in the past, like you rightly said, 5 to 7 years, there has been a proliferation in terms of distribution systems. And I not just mean theatrically, how content is distributed, like streaming services, satellite television, YouTube channels. So people have now started getting easier access to Malayalam cinema, and they've made a discovery that, oh, okay, you know, there's this industry which kind of makes unconventional cinema. But I disagree with the fact that there is that one kind of cinema that is superior. And I also disagree with the observation that there is content-driven cinema and there is otherwise cinema. Any film needs to be content-driven. Even if you are making like a mass masala film, it has to be content-driven. Unless it's good on paper, I don't think it'll ever work. I keep saying this, you cannot direct a bad script into a good film. You can direct a good script into a great film. But if the writing at that basic level is not working, whatever you do, it's not going to work. So any film, mass masala, survival thrillers, realistic films or whatever, needs to first work on paper. So cinema will be and should be always content driven. So.
That's wonderful. I'm personally and very eagerly waiting for the Goat Life.
Thank you so much.
All the best for the film.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.